Hello to all you poker players out there, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where I have assigned myself to play 100,000 hands on Limit Omaha 25 fast forward games. Since the last time I made a video, I have played 1,662 hands. I have won $58. Should only have been winning 5, but I have a very solid average all-in equity of 63, so pretty solid play it looks like, and at least it's a run good. I think the last couple of videos I've been running quite poor, so it's nice to get back in some good run. I can't really remember it, but because it doesn't really matter too much. Just try and learn and improve and expose myself to the game as much as possible. I have picked out some hands we're gonna go through today. The first hand here I make, it's like a mistake on mistake hand. So I go ahead and open up with King 8-5 try suit, and the button goes ahead and free bet me with Ace Queen 10-9 try suit. And if we take a look here on the bucket tool and just take a look at King 8-5. Try suit, and we will see there's an open every day, all day. We will also see here that when I do go ahead and call, because I do go ahead and call here, this is a hand I very often will fold. I don't know if I had a read on this person that the person was very wide on the button, and that was the reason why I called here and saw flop. But very often I will fold a hand like this versus a free bet on the button. The free bet on the button is quite is not as wide as you might think. I go ahead and raise, that's a fold, and then we have this free bet on the button of 6.7% here at PLO 50. So the calling range is much wider. So if we took it back here and saw that here in the cutoff, the calling range is not as wide and the free bet range is basically the same. If we take it in the small blind, the calling range is very narrow and the free bet range is a little bit narrower. So it is not here on the button they have the widest free bet range at all. And if we take a look at the exact hand the person has here, Ace Queen 10-9, and we can just try and plug in here the exact hand. Then we will see this is actually a calling hand. I was a little bit surprised that it was such a calling hand 100% of the time on these stakes. But with the free suited cards and it's a queen high suit, then you're pretty good shape when the flush shows up. And you're in good shape with all the straights and all the top two pairs. So that's probably the reason why. Nevertheless, the person do go ahead and free bet, and we will see here that this king's hand should have been folded. Nevertheless, I do go ahead and make the call, and I flop very big. I flop a gut shot and the second nut flush draw and an overpair, and he goes ahead and bets 75% of the pot, or is it 2/3? 2/3 of the pot. I go ahead and check raise and try and realize some fold equity. This is a spot where we can easily be in very bad shape, and I was super surprised when he just went ahead and made the call, and here on the turn there's no way around it with a stacked pot ratio so low. Just gotta get the last money in, and that I actually was a 95% favorite was quite a surprise to me. But yeah, I make a mistake. He make a mistake by free betting this type of hand on the button. I make a mistake by calling, and all in all, it leads to me winning a big pot. So part of the run good. The next hand we are going to investigate is this one here. I go ahead and open up with a very, very beautiful double paired, double suited queen queen 6-6, and the big blind goes ahead and defends his big blind with ace jack 10-10 single suited to the jack, which is pretty standard, I think. He flops a top pair and a gut shot. I hold like all these kind of set outs and the second nut flush draw. I go ahead and check, kind of cap my range. He goes ahead and bet here, pot size bet on the turn with top pair and the gut shot. Now it's a double gut shot. I go ahead and make the call and river the second nut flush, and I think he goes ahead and turn his hand into a bluff. But when I've capped my range on the turn, even though it's a pot size bet, I don't think there's any reason to fold here with the wide range a big blind is playing. So I do go ahead and make the call and win the pot. But second nut flush in pot limit Omaha is basically only a bluff catcher at this point of time when he barrels the turn and the river. Next hand we are going to take a look at this is this one here. Again, a mistake. We can take a look at, he go ahead and open up with ace 10-10 5 from the cutoff, and I think it's fine. Maybe it would be a little bit better, but it is a suited ace, so I think it's pretty clear open. And it is oops, so that's I go ahead here and free bet with a clean rundown single suited 10-9-8-7, which is a calling hand. This is a mistake to free bet this hand. We are closing the action, we are getting heads up, and there's no reason to push equity, but I do go ahead and make the free bet. So should he call this free bet here? It's a good question. So raise, fold, fold, and raise, and should he call? He should fold like 40% of the time, and then he should call 60% of the time. And typically it is all these where it is a suited 10 instead of the suited ace. So all these here with a suited ace is calling hands. So very nice call by him. If we take a look at this here and just double check my line, because these clean rundowns can be very appealing to go ahead and free bet with, but as we see, it is a clear call. Now, as you do go ahead and flop the nuts here and with top two pair, then it is way easier to play these types of hands, but it is kind of a little bit of a funny way. I go ahead and bet 1/3, try and induce. He kind of min raises me with his two blockers to the nuts, and yeah, it's just no reason to re-raise him. He's gonna fold all. This is one of these spots where if I re-raise him back, then he is gonna fold all his bluffs, and to keep his range wide. When people talk about keeping ranges wide, this is a spot like this. to keep his range as wide as possible, I just go ahead and call so he keeps all his bluffs in. And here on the turn, I mean, I have free bet before the flop, so it could look like I have like top set here, and that's why I just go ahead and bet half plus to try and get him to spew. And he goes ahead and call. And here on the river, I'm not sure if I can get anything out of it, so I just bet very, very small and try and induce something. And he do go ahead and jams, but he should realize that he doesn't have a ton of fold equity here. But obviously I go ahead and call, as the board hasn't changed anything, and I'll win that pot too. But yeah, he just wouldn't give up with his 10 blockers. And yeah, I think what he could have done, if he should play against my range now, as I have flopped the nuts, it's not a big deal, but instead of that raise there, he could have raised it way bigger, and then he could just have barreled the turn. Yeah, but it's hard when I come out betting the turn. The next hand here is, oh, it's a beauty. So cutoff opens, and I go ahead and flat with very, very weak aces. Double paired, single suited, 9977, some kind of connectivity there. Goes ahead and makes a squeeze, cutoff calls, and I go ahead and come in with a back raise. And if we take a look at this here, cutoff raises, button folds, I call, big blind. It's not a bad play at all. Here we go. We can see it is a calling hand, basically 100% of the time can free bet a tiny little bit. If we made it double suit, then maybe it will change a little bit. Yeah, then you go ahead and free bet all the time. So a little bit of a light squeeze there, but when just take this one more time here, and so he squeezes, he calls, and I come in with a back raise, and what shall he do here? You see here he shall only fold 14.3% of the time, and he should actually jam a mix of calling and jamming the other percent of the time. And that's what I mean, even though it's like not correct to squeeze this hand pre-flop, then when he do get back raised, he should call here and see a flop with the connectivity and the suit and the set outs. He needs like probably 33% equity, and I'm pretty sure he has that against exactly my hand. We could try now the cutoff to go ahead and then we can take like ace XX. How is it? Do we have like rainbow? Yeah. Not sure if that works in no, but we can take ace of spades, ace of diamonds, and what was the other cards? 8-5, spades, and club. And yeah, he holds like 37% equity, so he has the equity to make the call, and he do go ahead and flop middle set with a flush draw. There's not much for me to do here with a stack to pot ratio of 0.6, 0.65 or something like that to jam a flop like this. There's tons of draws that can call me, but yeah, against the sets I'm obviously in a pretty bad shape, and there's also a ton of two pairs, but I'm not that bad a shape of against the two pairs. So and I have a little bit of the blocker to the nut flush, even though it doesn't really matter too much. I don't think there's any way around it than to jam it in here on the flop and obviously go ahead and call, and he holds all the way home. But interesting little hand here. And the next hand we're gonna go through is yeah, just a little bit something where he goes ahead and opens up with a hand here he never should open up with, under the gun king, jack, jack 5, single suited to the jack. I go ahead and flat with single suited king, king 10 9, totally standard. Button do go ahead and free bet, and gun calls, and now I get a good price. And here we actually have a reasonable call. Call, fold, raise, fold, call, and let's take a look at king, king 10 9, single suited. Here we do have a good mix where we can fold and we can call. Yeah, we see here most of the folds is these where the 9-10 is the suit. Over here where we have there's some king here, but that's kind of just basically randomly mixed. But basically when we have the king high suited, we can go ahead and call it. So I do go ahead and call, and flop over pair and flush draw, and I just check my options on the flop, and the original free better just checks it back here on a 3 4 5, where the 6 7 is the nuts. So he goes ahead and turn the, what is that, third nuts, and jams, and I go ahead and call because I want to see what this guy over here is doing, and kind of induce him to make something. There's no way I'm folding the king high flush here in this type of pot with so much money in, when he can have blockers and stuff like that. So, but I'm not gonna jam myself. I'm gonna induce him to take like the ace of spade blocker and jam over my head, and try and make me fold, but there's no way it's gonna happen. So here on the turn he bets the last, and I win a pretty nice pot here. But this is what happens when you open up with hands you first of all shouldn't have opened with, and second of all, you should never call a free bet with it. I'm pretty sure about both of those things, and that is why it is good exercises to do what I do exactly in this channel, to do a lot of investigation on your pre-flop game. This one here is quite interesting, maybe not that interesting, but there's a little bit about stack sizes here, because in a way I misplay it a little bit. So I open up with ace king king queen, single suited to the king, and face a free bet from ace queen queen jack, single suited to the ace, and I do go ahead and make the call. I flop a gut shot and an overpair and a flush draw. King high flush draw, he goes ahead and bet with his straight draw and an overpair, and I go ahead and call. And here on the deuce turn, I think I had a read that he was pretty wild, this guy, but so there's no way I'm folding here, not either when the board pairs. I am ahead of his range, so I do go ahead and make the call and make the flush on the turn. But the thing is, like, if we put this hand here into the bucket tool or the PLO trainer, so it's a fold, fold, fold. I raise, it's a fold, and he go ahead and re-raise. And what shall I do here? So now we have solved for. Now we are solving for 100 big blinds. And we will see with 100 big blinds, it doesn't matter if it's the ace that's suited or if it is the king. This is a 100% call. But let's try and hide. If we go ahead and solve for only 50 big blinds, which is actually the case here in this hand, he holds basically 50 big blinds. So if we solve for 50 big blinds instead, then it is actually just a ram jam, get it in as fast as possible with ace king king queen. Important to pay attention to stack sizes and how that changed the frequencies and the ranges quite a bit, and which is also why this YouTube channel is basically I'm playing like 100 big blinds, where I start on 100 big blinds, and when I reach like these 100, basically maximum 150, then I try and get out of the table and go in and start because I want to like nail down this 100 big blinds play. But yeah, lucky for me to win that pot there. The last hand we're gonna use poker juice a little bit. This I had a read on this player that he was super aggressive on the river, and this is quite an interesting hand in my opinion, because he opens up like I don't remember if he also opened up quite wide, but I do go ahead and try and isolate him here in the hijack with aces, single suited. He has an absolute legitimate hand here, ace king king 10 to open up with, and it is actually a question if he should just go ahead and 4-bet it in this position. I raise, so it's fold, 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 and download. I think it was ace king king 10 single suited. Yeah, he should actually just go ahead and and 4-bet this hand. Now he didn't. He went ahead and called. And the thing about, like, I should, if we take a look at how wide I should, I mean, I should 3-bet him like 5.6% of the time here. Have a very narrow calling range. I want to push other players out of the pot, and we know that we do know that these aces types of hand is like 1.94% of hands, and therefore we would know that there is quite some bluffs in here, or double suited rundowns, some ace king king type of hands as he has himself and stuff like that. And that is why, because it's gonna be super hard and play this out of position on many boards. So the flop comes here like a 7, 8, 9, very bad flop for the 3-betting range. But the thing is, like, in this under the gun range, there isn't that many like rundowns. I mean, they are double suited and they are only gonna call pre-flop, but there isn't that many like rundowns that that really connects with this board here. There is some, and he has a blocker to one of them. He has the nut flush draw, but nevertheless, I go ahead and check the flop. And here, when the turn pairs, I do go ahead. He pots it, and I do go ahead and make the call. Against many players, I would fold this hand on the turn when with this line, but I decided that when I had capped my range on the flop, then this turn card was absolutely one of the best turn cards to bluff catch on. And he do go ahead and pot the river, and I think this is an indication of actually quite a good hand reader, that he turns a hand like king ace king king 10 into a bluff on the river here, and he reads my hand totally correct. The problem for him is that I have played enough with him to see that he do this more than he should, and that is why I do go ahead and make the call here. Like this 4 doesn't really change anything. Like this is a spot where he either hells me basically with the straight. There's not a ton of boats in here, and yeah. So what I did is I took and pasted it into poker juice, and then I gave under the gun like a 17% opening range. If we just take a look at the bucket tool here and say 100 big blinds, so 16.8% he should open. And then I excluded a 4-bet range of 2, which is basically aces. As when he doesn't 4-bet ace king king 10 single suited, then we can narrow it down to aces. So what we will see here with this hand versus that range in play, here on the flop I hold 49% equity versus that range with my hand, backdoor flush draw over pair, jack blocker. Here on the turn, I have 57% equity versus his range, and as we saw before, I went ahead and called. And here on this 4 river, I have 65% equity versus his range. And given that he has a very, very high river aggression, I think it was a fine call, and it was. But yeah, I must say it was a very strong play by him on the river. But that was it for today. I hope to see you around another time, and I wish you all the best of luck out in life.